"You need to step aside, miss. This course isn't designed for people like you." The instructor's words echo across the obstacle course as 25-year-old Maya Chen stands at the registration desk, her small frame barely reaching his shoulder, while a crowd of cadets watches from behind, some already snickering. She keeps her eyes steady and says nothing, even as the instructor taps his clipboard impatiently, but there's something in the way she shifts her weight that suggests she stood in far worse situations than this. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button if you want more incredible stories of veterans who shocked everyone around them, and drop a comment telling us about a time you proved someone completely wrong. Maya had driven 4 hours to reach this private military training facility in North Carolina. She wasn't here for glory or attention. She just needed a job as a civilian contractor, and this place offered instructor positions for people with the right background. The application process seemed simple enough. Show up, demonstrate your skills, pass their evaluation course. She figured it would take a morning, maybe an afternoon at most. The facility trained young cadets who dreamed of military careers, giving them a taste of what basic training might feel like. Most instructors here were former Army or Marines, guys who had done their time and now made decent money teaching kids how to do push-ups and navigate rope courses. Maya walked into the main office that morning wearing plain workout clothes, her hair tied back in a simple ponytail. She stood 5'3" and weighed maybe 120 pounds soaking wet. The woman at the front desk looked her up and down, then asked if she was lost. "No," Maya said. She was here for the instructor evaluation. The woman's eyebrows went up. She picked up a phone, spoke quietly to someone, then told Maya to wait outside by the obstacle course. Someone would be with her shortly. That's when everything started going wrong. Maya walked out to the training area, where about 30 cadets were warming up for their morning session. They looked to be between 18 and 22, all of them eager and loud, talking about which colleges had the best ROTC programs and who was going to make it through Ranger School someday. A few noticed her standing by herself near the registration table. One of them, a tall kid with a buzz cut, nudged his buddy and pointed in her direction. The head instructor, a thick-necked man named Derek Patterson, came striding over. He had the look of someone who had spent maybe 4 years in the military a decade ago and never stopped talking about it. His shirt was too tight, showing off arms covered in faded tattoos. He stopped in front of Maya and crossed his arms. "So you're the one who applied for the instructor position," he said, looking her over like she was something stuck to his boot. Maya nodded. "That's right." Patterson glanced back at his cadets, then back at her. He shook his head slowly. "Look, I don't know what you've been told, but this isn't a daycare center. We run serious training here. Our instructors need to be able to demonstrate every exercise, carry their own weight, and command respect from these kids. No offense, but I don't see that happening with you." Several cadets had stopped stretching now. They were watching the exchange with growing interest. Maya kept her voice calm. "I understand what the job requires. I've read through the whole description. So I'm confident I can meet your standards." Patterson let out a short laugh. "Confident? That's cute." He turned to one of his assistant instructors, a younger guy with a clipboard. "Hey Marcus, come look at this. We got someone here who thinks she can hang with our program." Marcus walked over, looked at Maya, and couldn't hide his smirk. "You serious right now?" The cadets were fully paying attention now. Someone in the back made a comment that got a few laughs. Patterson didn't tell them to quiet down. Maya felt the familiar tightness in her chest, the one that came whenever people looked at her and made assumptions. She had dealt with this her entire life. Even in the teams, even after she had proven herself 100 times over, there were always people who saw her size first and nothing else. "Tell you what," Patterson said, his voice getting louder so the cadets could hear. "Since you drove all the way out here, I'll give you a shot. We'll run you through our standard evaluation course. It's the same one we use for the cadets on their first day. Nothing too crazy, just basic stuff. You complete it without embarrassing yourself, maybe we'll talk." He said it like he was doing her a favor, like he already knew she would fail, and was just letting her fail publicly to teach some kind of lesson. Maya looked at the obstacle course stretched out behind him. It was standard stuff. A wall climb, rope traverse, tire run, low crawl under barbed wire, monkey bars. She had done far worse before breakfast during her time in the Navy. "All right," she said simply. Patterson's grin widened. "Great." Marcus, get her signed in." He turned to the cadets and raised his voice. "Listen up, everyone. We got a special demonstration this morning. This young lady thinks she has what it takes to be an instructor here. Let's give her a chance to show us what she's got." The tone in his voice made it clear what he expected. This wasn't about giving her a fair shot. This was entertainment. Maya walked to the starting line. The cadets formed a loose crowd along the sidelines, some sitting on the ground, others standing with arms crossed. She could hear their conversations, the bets being placed on how far she would make it before quitting. One cadet, a stocky kid with a red face, spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "I give her 30 seconds before she's crying." His friend laughed. "Dude, she won't even make it over the first wall." Patterson walked over to Maya with a stopwatch. "The course record is 8 minutes and 40 seconds, held by one of my best instructors. Average time for first-time cadets is around 15 minutes. You don't need to break any records. Just finish without needing medical attention, and we'll consider that a win." He clicked the stopwatch and held it up. "Ready when you are." Maya took a breath. She didn't stretch or warm up. She just looked at the course ahead of her, mapping it out in her mind the way she had been trained to do. Find the most efficient path, conserve energy where possible, move with purpose. She started running. The first obstacle was a 6-foot wooden wall. Most people had to jump, grab the top and pull themselves up with a struggle. Maya hit it at a full sprint, planted 1 foot halfway up and vaulted over the top in a single smooth motion. She landed on the other side and kept moving without breaking stride. Behind her, the laughter died down a bit. Next was the tire run, a zigzag pattern through heavy tractor tires half buried in the ground. It was designed to test footwork and agility. Maya moved through it like water, her feet barely touching each tire before moving to the next. No wasted movement, no hesitation. Patterson's smirk started to fade. The rope traverse came next. A thick rope stretched between 2 platforms, about 15 feet off the ground. The standard method was to hang from the rope and pull yourself across hand over hand. It was exhausting, and most people's grip gave out halfway through. Maya grabbed the rope and went across in smooth, controlled pulls. Her shoulders didn't shake. Her grip didn't slip. She reached the other side and dropped to the ground in less than 20 seconds. Now the cadets had gone completely quiet. The low crawl was next. 50 feet of mud under strands of barbed wire, set low enough that you had to stay flat on your stomach the entire way. It was designed to be miserable. Maya dropped down and moved through it faster than Patterson had seen anyone move before. She kept her body low, used her elbows and knees efficiently, and came out the other side covered in mud but not even breathing hard. Patterson looked at his stopwatch. His jaw was tight. The monkey bars were the final obstacle. 40 feet of overhead bars that required serious upper body strength. This is where most smaller candidates failed. Their arms gave out and they dropped into the sand below. Maya reached up, grabbed the first bar and started swinging across. Her movements were controlled and rhythmic. She didn't rush. She didn't struggle. She just moved from bar to bar like she had done this 10,000 times before. When she dropped from the final bar and crossed the finish line, Patterson clicked the stopwatch. He stared at it for a long moment. 6 minutes and 18 seconds. The cadets just sat there in stunned silence. Maya walked back toward Patterson, mud streaked across her face and arms. She wasn't even breathing heavily. She stopped in front of him and waited. Patterson's face had gone red. He looked at the stopwatch again, then at her, then back at the stopwatch. "That's not possible," he muttered. "You're telling me you just beat our course record by over 2 minutes?" Maya said nothing. One of the cadets finally spoke up. "Holy shit, who is she?" Patterson's assistant, Marcus, stepped forward, looking genuinely confused now. "Where did you serve? What was your emos?" Maya wiped some mud off her forearm. "I was a special warfare combatant craft crewman," she said quietly. "SWCC. I spent 3 years running missions with SEAL Team 3. Before that, I went through the same training pipeline as the boat crews. 24 weeks at Coronado." The words landed like a bomb. SWCC was one of the most elite units in naval special operations. The boat crews that inserted and extracted SEAL teams in hostile territory. They went through a training pipeline that had a failure rate higher than 80%. The physical standards were brutal, and the job itself was even worse. Patterson's mouth opened and closed. He looked like someone had just told him the sky was green. Marcus actually took a step back. Wait, you went through the Coronado pipeline? The full course. Maya nodded. Started basic crewman training, moved through crewman qualification training and finished at advanced training. I was one of 4 women who attempted it that year. I was the only one who made it through. One of the cadets stood up. You're saying you worked with actual SEALs? Like on real missions? Maya glanced at him. I can't talk about specific operations. But yes, I spent 3 years doing the job. We ran insertion and extraction missions, coastal patrol, direct action support. I left the Navy 6 months ago. Now I'm looking for civilian work. The red-faced cadet who had bet she would be crying within 30 seconds looked like he wanted to sink into the ground. Patterson finally found his voice. Why didn't you mention any of this in your application? Maya looked at him directly. You didn't ask. The application said to list relevant experience. I listed my Navy service. You assumed what that meant. Patterson's face went even redder. He knew he had screwed up. He had judged her before she even had a chance to speak, and now he looked like an idiot in front of his entire class. Marcus cleared his throat. Derek, I think we should probably talk about this inside. But one of the cadets spoke up before Patterson could respond. The tall kid with the buzz cut, who had first pointed at Maya, stood up and walked toward her. He stopped a few feet away, and his expression had completely changed. That was the most incredible thing I've ever seen, he said. I'm sorry for laughing earlier. I didn't know. Maya looked at him for a moment, then nodded. It's okay. People make assumptions. It happens. Another cadet joined him. Can I ask you something? What was the hardest part of the training? Maya thought about it. The cold, she said. During Hell Week, they put you in the ocean for hours at a time. The water temperature is around 60 degrees. You're already exhausted, already running on no sleep, and then they make you sit in the surf zone until you can't feel your hands anymore. Some people quit right there, not because they're weak, but because the cold just breaks something inside you. It's a different kind of pain. The cadets listened like she was telling them the secrets of the universe. Patterson stood off to the side, arms crossed, looking like he wanted to disappear. Marcus walked over to him and spoke quietly. You know we have to offer her the job now, right? If word gets out that we turned away someone with her background, we're going to look like complete idiots. Patterson didn't respond. He just stared at the obstacle course. Maya turned to leave. She figured the evaluation was over, and she had made her point. Whether they hired her or not didn't really matter anymore. She had proven what she needed to prove, at least to herself. But the tall cadet followed her. Wait, are you really leaving? Don't you want to hear if you got the job? Maya stopped and looked back. I don't think your instructor wants me here. The cadet glanced at Patterson, then back at her. With all due respect, I don't care what he wants. If you leave now, we're losing the chance to learn from someone who actually did the things we're all dreaming about. That's insane. Several other cadets nodded in agreement. Patterson finally walked over. His pride was clearly wounded, but he wasn't completely stupid. He knew when he had been beaten. Look, he said, his voice stiff, I made some assumptions I shouldn't have made. That was wrong. You clearly have the qualifications for the position. If you're still interested, the job is yours. Maya studied him for a moment. She could see it cost him something to say that. One condition, she said. Patterson frowned. What? You treat every person who walks through that gate the same way you'd want to be treated. No assumptions, no jokes. You evaluate them based on what they can do, not what they look like. Patterson's jaw tightened. After a long pause, he nodded. Fair enough. Maya accepted the job that day. Over the next few months, she became one of the most respected instructors at the facility. The cadets loved her because she didn't just talk about toughness, she had lived it. She pushed them hard, but never broke them down for the sake of her own ego. Patterson kept his distance at first, but eventually he came around. He even admitted one day that having her on staff made the program better, but the biggest change was in the cadets themselves. They stopped judging people at first glance. They learned that strength comes in different forms, and that the quietest person in the room might be the most dangerous. Maya never talked much about her time in the Navy. She didn't need to. Her actions spoke louder than any story ever could. And on days when new applicants showed up at the facility, the cadets would sometimes whisper to each other, telling the story of the small woman who destroyed the course record and changed everything. They called it the day they learned to never judge a book by its cover. But Maya just called it Tuesday.